Hello team, today's challenge is parking fee calculator, where we get a start and an end time and we need to calculate the total cost for that parking duration, okay? There are some rules around here for each hour costing $3, but if it's only been 1 hour, then you owe 5. So that first hour is $5. Each hour after that is only $3, or the total hours after that is only $3. If you pass over midnight, it's 10. There's a special case here that they don't talk about, and that's what happens if I park at, say, 11:30 p.m. and pick my car up at 12:15 a.m., right? Well, that would be $3, but because we've passed midnight, would it be 13? I don't know. I have no way of asking them that, but for today, the way that my math will work is that, yes, it will be 13, which is bad luck for them. In theory, we might have to change this later based on that math. But here we go, okay? Over to here, we have this thing, and we are going to have an object, not an array, because we're going to destructure some things later on, okay? We're going to destructure off of something called get hours, okay? And that is going to pass in, well, these start and end times, okay? So taking that, pasting it in, excellent. Let's go and create this function, pasting it, excellent, okay? I'm going to use let's here because we're going to change some things along the way, and this is going to make things easier. So let's start equal time in minutes. So we're going to convert everything to minutes, if I can type, to make our math easier, okay? So time in minutes like this, and we are going to pass in that park time, okay? Grabbing this one, we'll change this to end, and this one is going to be pickup time, spelling it right. There we go. So we have those. Before we create those functions, let's finish this one, okay? Because it's a bit involved. So stay in the course. We've gone those two things as minutes, okay? We also need is overnight, just like this, which is going to tell us if we've crossed that midnight threshold, okay? Right now we'll set it to false, which leads to our conditional, okay? Our conditional is going to be end minus start, and we're going to make sure that that is a negative, okay? Now, the end minus start, doing it right, end minus start is not always going to be -1. In fact, we need to flip that to be math.sign, which in this case, if it is negative, it will return -1. So good work. Okay. And then we take that end, we go plus equals 24 times 60. Okay. Because I don't remember how many minutes are in a day. I'm sure that I should, but 24 times 60 gets it done. Okay. The other thing is overnight, okay? We're going to flip that to true, okay? Which means that now we are in good shape to return something, okay? We return an object that has hours, okay? And those hours are going to be, again, end minus start divided by 60, okay? Because we're turning it back into an hour thing. Now, this is not going to work because division happens before subtraction, so let's wrap this in brackets. And then the whole thing in brackets, where we go math.ceil. We're going to round it up because we want to get all that money, okay? Getting that done. Right here, we also want to pass in is overnight, okay? That's going to be useful down here when we do our final bit, okay? So we have hours, we have is overnight. Brilliant. We have not taken care of time in minutes, so let's go and do that really fast. That's going to be another function. Brilliant. Changing this to time. And again, this should be hopefully straightforward. This should actually be the easiest part. I hope. Okay. Right here we have hours and minutes. We're going to get those from time.split. And what are we splitting on? Well, it's going to be the colon, okay? And then we return hours times 60 plus minutes. And because of order of operations, this is going to work, except this is all strings. Okay, so let's make sure that these are actually going to be numbers by coercing them into numbers. Brilliant. At this point, we have everything that we need for this first line. We haven't used it yet, but we've calculated everything down to minutes and then did the math based on that. Okay, which means that we have our hours and a little bit of extra for if we did in fact go over the midnight threshold. Okay, which leads to our final bit right here. It's going to be a $sign, some variables. Brilliant. This one here is red. We can backspace that so that it ignores it. Okay, and then inside of here we are going to get total. Okay, and here we're going to pass in those hours and an object with is overnight. Okay. The reason that it's an object is because I want to make this function flexible. I want to make it so that in the event that maybe the day rate goes up or the minimum rate goes up or the overnight value changes, we can do that from here too. Okay, we won't have to edit our function. We can just make edits based on this, okay? Based on the call point. So function, we haven't made that. Let's go and do it. Function, pasting it in. This, I'm going to cut this away and call it options, setting it equal to that. Okay, whoops, doing it right. There we go. Now, inside of here, we have that object, right? And we get is overnight. There's also going to be hours rate and overnight rate and min rate, okay? And all of these get used again. So we just go equals, paste it in, adding some returns because that makes it look nice. Right here, right here, right here, right here. And the last one, excellent. Now we change these, okay? So overnight is going to be false, okay? We'll come back to that in a second. Don't worry about it. The hours rate is 3. The overnight rate is 10. The min rate is 5, okay? Right below all this, we spread options. I think I've done this in previous videos, so hopefully you remember that. This means that if I pass in any of these properties inside of this options, okay, it will overwrite my defaults, which is exactly what I want, okay? So now I can use all this to my advantage. The first one is total, okay? So just like this, we're going to set total equal to a few things. So we have hours. We're going to multiply that by the hour rate, okay? And then we're going to add in, if it is overtime, so is, sorry, not overtime, overnight, right? Overtime, overnight. But if it is overnight, then we send in the overnight rate. Otherwise, we send in 0, right? We don't want to change anything. Did I do it as hours rate? I absolutely did. I see that. Got it, okay? So could I have set this to a let and then altered this later as a conditional, similar to how we did it up here? Absolutely, okay? Something a little bit different. I kind of like it. Maybe I don't. I haven't decided yet, okay? If you hate that, send this down to its own little function that updates total. Not a problem, okay? Right here, we return something, okay? We return the total, but we need more than that, okay? So if total is less than the min rate, okay? And I always want to write that as 5. I keep forgetting to type in min rate. But if total is less than min rate, then return min rate. Otherwise, return total, okay? So just like that, everything should line up just like so, okay? So to review, we changed everything. We calculated the hours, okay? But we did that by turning it into minutes because it's hours and minutes. It's easier to go with the smaller unit, which is the minutes, and do it that way. if the end time was less than the start time, then in theory they've crossed the midnight threshold, and we need to add some time to that and set our overnight flag to true, okay, which we use later on down the line because we return all that. Brilliant. Some quick calculation here to actually split and turn that into minutes. Excellent, okay? The final step was calculating it, and we did it. Did we need this block? No, we didn't, okay? I wanted to do that. That's something that I like to do because I like to show the flexibility of these functions, okay? But you could have just passed in overnight and then use that down here and hard-coded all of these values or what have you, right? All that flexibility is available to you. But with this function here, we were able to get our total. Maybe get total was the wrong name here. Maybe it should be get hours total. I don't know. Get hours fee. Better names. Who knows? But yeah, we did that, passed in that object, and got the value. Okay. Kind of a long one today, right? There were a few steps that we had to get through in order to get it done. So hopefully that made sense. If it didn't, hit me up in the comments. If you found an easier way or a way that you want to share, also share that in the comments. I love seeing that. Otherwise, today this has been Parking Fee Calculator, and I will see you tomorrow.